Now I have to ask myself what I can make here. And I rather eat my own food than, that's often what other people cook. Because I know that I'm cooking in the spirit. Creating a good meal. Okay, now I have to ask myself what I'm actually making. Alright. Apple mousse, people. It's so basic. I mean, they produce so many apples that sometimes it just gets out of hand. I mean, shops cannot sell all of the food that we're being producing. And so I just got apples for €1.50, and that's probably, I have no scale here, but I'm gonna show you. I would guess it's probably like 5 kilos. Oh wow. So now, when you buy them with the intention of making apple mousse, then you need, first of all, to take the time to make it. I mean, look at this. These are good apples. But just people are starting to be... They're too picky. They're way too picky. And now, I'm just going to do this fairly simple. I'm probably going to keep 2 or 3, because it's usually nice to also have food. So the ones that just fell, I'm obviously going to turn into apple mousse. Yeah. So they always mark it with an X, the bags that are for 50 cents. They just mark it with an X. And just always comes this Rick and Morty into my mind, or at least it still does. In the episode. Yeah, I'm just trying to connect, man. I'm just talking about Rick and Morty because it's something we may have in common, right? You know, it's the personal touch that I try to bring to you, which says, you know, I'm basically friendly towards you, and you can hold me in your heart, but you cannot claim me, right? Because I'm here for my family. And I suppose your family may need help as well, which is why you're struggling, because your entire network is struggling. The people you stand in connection with, they're all struggling, and that's why you're struggling, which is why you have to find a way to show your family into the light in a healthy way. And you have to stop this sending parents off to caretaking homes, because this is, to me, you know, if something like sin exists, then that's a sin. Because it says you shall honor your parents. This is one of the most important teachings. And if it comes to spirituality, this is basic. Honor your wife, honor your children, honor your parents, and have respect for everything else. So I believe that you can eat meat, but you eat it with respect. You appreciate the energy that you've been given by anything that gave its life. So The tree gives apples and we just make it give more by giving it lots of like fertilizer and then we throw it away. Just because somebody sits in this in-between step and just takes all the money. And he doesn't care that the trees have to work extra hard. I mean, that's just the same, it's mass production. So some of us have started to gather up what the industry just has no value for and just make something with it. I mean, there's like wild berries in forests. I mean, I'm not talking to people who want to like make this really big. I'm talking to people who respectfully want to go into nature, learn to live from nature bit by bit. We're talking about transitions here. We're talking about, you know, some secret spots where there's berries growing, then you go there, you harvest the berries, and then you start making a living, but you don't take people along, you keep it a secret. And the reason you do this is because a lot of people, these places are mostly hard to reach. So a lot of lazy like city folk, they won't do this. So we're trying to get back to, hey, let's work together with nature instead of raping her. That's the idea, right? That's what we're gonna get back to. Alright. Yeah, I'm singing to this little cannabis seed. So this is a two-step approach. You do need glasses, like glasses such as this. You may have bigger ones. I think I'm gonna use the ones I have from the coconut oil, because this is a good size for a single household apple mousse storage size, right? Because I don't want to have like huge jars, because every time I open one, a huge chunk of my work is then gone. I want this to be, okay, I feel like it, you know, maybe there's a guest, this is also something I could give to others. I'm sure I will get more apples if this works, but I first want to try. So I'm gonna do this with the peel, most certainly, because that's still nutrients. Why would I take off the peel? I'm gonna take out the pit, but I'm not gonna take out the peel. Now, I've been doing a lot of cleansing and I've been eating more and more bitter, but mostly I just learned to work with my emotions. Okay, now I'm uncertain. It's probably best to rinse these. So I'm just gonna put them all in here. I'm gonna take away, I'll pick 4 maybe that look good, because it's good to have fresh fruits in the house. 5. And you know, let's be honest, I mean, we live in times where you could eat yourself to death, and people are actually eating themselves to death. So you can learn from Mary and Max and just skip, you know, okay, maybe you just came out of a huge like fit of depression. Hey man, you just awoke to your shamanic potential because you walked through darkness and you came into the light. Welcome. Now you gotta continue, you gotta pick off where you left off. You just went through darkness and you came out into light, right? The seed is growing, now nourish it. With hard work. Which is why we make art by ourselves, with our hands, with our feet, with our tears, instead of using AI. That's the message. We make apple juice, apple mousse, whatever, we make it ourselves, we put in the work, right? We try to carry as much as our own weight as we can, as much of our own weight. Okay, I'm gonna take this one because the other one I already chopped onions on. Yeah, I'm not that fussy with all the dirt that some people are so afraid of, because I simply think, I mean, how bad can it be? I just have faith. But they do spray apples, so it's probably better to rinse them. I mean, they say, yeah, it's going into the peel, but if it's in the peel, then it's gonna be also in everything else, so. And remember, I save this water to flush the toilet. So I have a bucket under me sink, and I save the water to flush the toilet. This is the best way I have found for myself. Yeah, I think this is a good idea. To just, because there is like weird stuff swimming on top of the water now. So it's probably a good choice to rinse this. Well, they always say that this doesn't look like natural to me. Not at all. This does not look natural. Whatever this is, well, they sometimes say they spray wax on it, or that the apple is forming it themselves. I think that's bullshit that they say, so that they can just make things look fresh longer. But it's actually disgusting that they do this. Right? It's disgusting. Well, what can I say? Maybe it's just my paranoia. Maybe it is normal. But it's hard to say. Okay, so I always keep telling people they should eat more bitter. Hey, wait. There. And I believe this to be true. Now, if noise like this is disturbing your peace, then you clearly have to clean yourself. You have to clean your apartment. You have to start with your cleansing. I mean, if you're here, then you're at your wit's end, and then you've lost track. Because this should be basic knowledge. But you've been kept in the dark, because there others can use you and make money with you. But just see it as that's what this life has in store for you. I mean, a bit of anger never hurt anyone. Okay, and now it's just about cutting this. So I suppose that this is gonna be too much for this pot, so I have to do it in 2. Well, you can eat this. Dude, you don't have to chuck it. But I just don't want it in the... And there you go, it's a good breakfast then. Just the pits of apples. I mean, I eat kiwi with the peel, simply because it's more energy. So this is for you to decide how the rest of your life should be like. Okay, I should first wait till there's enough apple in there, because you don't want to, right, you can burn your apples. So there's enough water in apples to actually, I mean, you can basically put anything in here. You can even add lemon juice. You could also add orange juice. You can add cinnamon. You could add cloves. You can add turmeric. You can even add black pepper. Right, you can make this however you want it. Apple mousse is also a nice bread spread, by the way. I always suggest making your own bread is highly advisable. Now what you have to have for this kind of work is patience and experience. You certainly need experience. So you just have to keep doing this, and anything you do is hard in the beginning. Like, I had to get used to creating content for YouTube. I had to get used to doing my own thing. If you see this, you cut it out. Okay, this I would chuck just because of the feeling. But at the same time, a horse would just eat it, right? But I'm not sure. Because I mean, okay, there's people that eat, of course, worms. I have eaten insects in South Africa, and they were termites. I think this is something I would probably eat when I'm really at wit's end. I see no use in cultivating insects simply because should just start reducing instead of doing more and more. I mean, maybe insects, but it's the same thing. They're animals. They should be allowed to thrive and be free. Now, it's probably good to first take the ones that have like bad spots on it, and then the rest will get by on their own. So you have to work with the ones that are really having a bad time or a good time suffering. Oh wow, I chucked that one. You know, it's all relative. I mean, I did my suffering. And I'm still fine, right? So people are just, their problem is not, I don't know, it's just, they're just too afraid. It cannot be explained why. I just know that they are. If you ask for the why, then, well, that's just how it's always been, right? There's always few against many. It's always like this. It's always the 300 facing off darkness. It's always like this. It has always been like Asterix and Obelix, the galleons against the armada of Rome or something. It has always been like this. It's always that whoever seeks power stretches out. And then there's always somewhere a village that faces it off. There's always somewhere a village that faces this off. Always. And you may just help your village to face off depression and to face off these threats. Like, to me, I think AI is a threat. Very simple, it's a threat. So who's gonna lead your people through darkness? Well, now you're gonna say, me, I wanna do this, I wanna have the job, I wanna be Naruto. Yeah, sure, man. Be Naruto, but then see also what he did. Everyone hated him. Everyone rejected him. And just because you think you can do it doesn't mean you can do it. What you have to do is, you have to work on yourself, and you have to mean it. If you fake this, it will never work, because you yourself will know that you're faking it. You have to sacrifice selfish time and give it. You have to be that goody-goody in a way. No more sleeping around with women. You pick a wife and then you keep it. Even if she rejects you, doesn't matter. You just have to keep her. Honor your parents. Tell the truth. I mean, but telling the truth is also hard. Because you first have to be honest to yourself. And you have to first learn what the truth is. And for that you have to pay attention, focus, and look at it. Because, I I mean, you can be sure that you've been deceived. So, gotta do your homework. You know, that's all I'm saying. Just pick up. Right, people say things, what do they really mean? They say one thing, they mean another. I mean, I've been struggling for years with this to figure out how to also help my parents or something. But the thing is, as soon as they're doing good or okay, they don't want it anyway. So you first have to put in your work. And they keep resisting your attempts. And you just keep putting your work into yourself so that you make sure you're okay. And when you feel like help is needed elsewhere, well, then you do that. And then, you know, I cannot tell you what to do. I cannot. For the sake of it, I cannot tell you what to do. I can just tell you what I did. And I did a lot of running around. I ran around, filming myself, taking pictures. I ran around, I did all kinds of things. Okay, I'm gonna chuck the pit. I don't know. It's too much now, I cannot eat all of this. Which is why I'm preserving it. I cannot eat all this stuff. I'm just gonna preserve it because then I know, you know, when shit hits the fan, I at least have some apple mousse. This is like a bit like prepping. So I'm gonna put up a food storage for myself. I have a cellar. I'm gonna turn this into a nice food storage. It's gonna take some time. I'm gonna pickle fruits. Pickle foods. Like pickled onions, pickled carrots. You don't actually need vinegar, I think. I think it just works with salt. But I have to look that up again. Because you've got salt brine and then you've got other kinds of brine. And then you just keep it in a jar. You can have 2 jars. And you just have pickled fruits. I mean, what more do you want? Okay, it's better to keep this at a low setting. Right, so this goes until 5 or something, or maybe 6, and I have it on 1 now. And if you put on a lid, that's enough. I'm just saying, you see this one has a spot. So often the core is rotten somewhere and then we call it cancer. So if the core is rotten, then you have to heal from within, which is work on your diet, work on your thoughts. Never name what you have. Do not say I have cancer. Just accept that you're feeling unwell. And that's why you started to go hiking more, you started to take more time for yourself, you started to eat more bitter, you stopped eating sugar, you stopped smoking. Your body can be regenerated only if you start focusing on yourself. You have to pay attention to how you feel and then act accordingly. And this may take a lot of time, but this can be practiced. Intuition can be practiced, but you have to sit and listen. And then you say, what should I listen to? Well, just yourself. What am I supposed to do today? And then you hear the screams inside of you, begging for help. And then you say, wait a second, who am I actually helping if I run around helping others now? I mean, I just have to do my own thing and then people have to accept it. You can just tell them. I mean, I've told people I had suicidal thoughts but they did nothing. The only thing, they can tell you is go to a doctor, but I didn't want it. So I just took charge myself and I said, hey, I think I know better what to do. And so I just picked up where I left off, which was I studied in Bingen. And this is where Hildegard von Bingen comes from. And I had no idea why I did this. I just did. And then I had to live with it and accept it. And now I have all this knowledge on environmental protection, but it's what I wanted. And so I can say, hey, right, I think this is how it's gonna be like. I just have to do my cleansing and then look out for my wife. Which is strange. Because I thought everything would be different. But in a way I did not. I don't know what to expect. It's just hard to say. Okay. Now this just has to cook. So this is more like gently, because this will get warmer and warmer. But because it's just on one, it's not gonna burn it. There's this way to laugh. It's nonsense. Okay, cool. This looks very promising. Yeah, okay, I'm probably gonna have to talk about breathwork at some point. There are so many things to teach people. I'm just gonna focus on food for the moment. Okay, there's two more things. Wait. Oh, there's parsley in it. That's unexpected. I thought I just bought mint, but it's parsley and mint. So in between, now this is cooking. Now I could actually say, yeah, I'm gonna do this now. Actually, I'm gonna pause this recording and this is just gonna do the cooking. I'm gonna stir it occasionally. I'm gonna add at some point a bit of garam masala. You can add cinnamon or whatever. You can even add cardamom or whatever you feel like. I could also have vanilla. I will add no sugar, of course. Okay, and now I will turn this off and record something else, because I also have to make sure that whatever I do is manageable for me personally. Which is why I often make also short recordings, because for me, why does somebody need every day like an hour video? Because this is about apple mousse, and then the next one is about tea, and then the next one is about maybe something else, right? So I have short sessions where I just introduce an idea to you, and then I can make longer videos and then shorter. Okay? This will be picked up on. This is one way to make tea. Another hat for the top. I'm gonna put it back on its place. Okay. I had ginger. So I'm gonna make my own variant of apple mousse. Right, people always say they don't like this or they don't like that. But what do they really know? This works. And if I'm having a bad day, I'd rather have this than a bad mood. Because this is not just about, it's not just making food. This is transformation. This is actually healing. I have no problem with ginger. And if someone does, then well, they don't have to eat this. But this is how I make it. And now suddenly I feel a bit more calm. So it's also food I got from others. And that does make a difference. Okay. I'm gonna put cloves into this. Also there, I don't have a problem with spices. And that's why working on your feminine side is important. Because that's where you've got your intuition. But also your masculine side, which is then, right, frying meat on a stone. That's the middle path, right? Or maybe the middle is something else. I like to live in extremes. That's just all I'm saying. Cloves are good. They're antibacterial and stuff. And they drive out your demons. Okay, nutmeg I will add a bit later. Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna turn this off again. Okay, my SD card is almost full. And I have no spare one. So I added the ginger. I added some cloves like you saw. Now I'll add garam masala, just a bit. So this is simply giving flavor. And now I'm gonna add the nutmeg. And now I'm gonna add more apples, but I'm first gonna rinse this off. Because this shrinks more and more. And the next you're gonna see, because I first have to finish rendering videos that I already have recorded on my computer, so I can put the rest or the next ones, right? So I can empty the SD card. That's the stage I'm at now. But it also keeps me busy and it keeps me from recording too many things. So I am quite organized with this kind of work because I'm managing several things at the same time. So I often switch between, right, podcast, website, Instagram, YouTube, and then also the other podcast, and then books, And then I'm looking for ideas also for new albums. So this is basically you occasionally, you don't, if you have it on a low setting, this will not burn. Lowest setting, this is the lowest setting the stove has. And then it's like slow food. You want this to be relaxing. So you create the food now in a relaxing atmosphere that is healing and wholesome. And then when you open it and eat it at a later stage, you preserve the energy and it may bring you great healing. So focus and attention are essential in making food. And don't get me wrong, I do get annoyed if I'm too good. But there is simply no room for being the bad boy anymore. Because you have to always keep the child in the room. So I rather keep this a clean and safe space than to just make everything really dirty. Okay, so now I will simply see how many I can fit in. And that's all. That it takes. You never run after people. If they want their distance, then you have to grant it. And that's annoying. Especially because you may feel like love for certain people. And you just love them from a distance. And that takes a lot of patience. But if they stay away, then just focus on your own life. And ask yourself, who is who? Right? Who is who in this constellation of yours? How do you see? What's your vision of the future and how it should all come together? And who is what? Who's more like friendly love? Who's more like that's my wife kind of love? How do they feel towards you? Because they may never tell you how they feel towards you. So you gotta listen and observe. And that takes a lot of practice to read between the lines and to understand what people are actually saying through spirit. So we get away from this mentality of a politician who just says anything just to sell you stuff, his own story maybe. And we get back to the actual truth, looking at what is. And my standard example is the German health minister is the dirtiest guy you'll ever see. So who have we been listening to? It's just a fabrication of our own dreams, that living like this can actually be maintained. That is the dream of the industry, and it's Mordor. And so now we try to get back to actually making sense and stop listening to science. Because science knows nothing, but they sell you the idea that they do. And you pay with it with your own life. Believing nonsense, it's just gonna get you an early trip or visit from the Grim Reaper, and in such a way that can never be expressed. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep recording this until it turns off by itself. Then I have to make sure that the computer is empty and there's enough space. And then I'm just gonna continue with other things in the meantime. Yeah. In the meantime, I'm watching ocean waves just to see how I feel about the story. Okay, this is basically